Okay, welcome and good morning. My name is Albert Yuan. I'm from CalNext Solutions, and today's presentation is on 5G. You know, what is 5G and how's that going to change the network and also the equipment inside the 5G network. So, you know, 5G is not just about, you know, faster speeds. I put a line here, is about both people and things. So this trade show, you know, there's a huge topic on Internet of Things, and 5G really enables the connectivity of these Internet of Things. So when you talk about connecting things to the network, is about, you know, massive number of devices, a lot of sensors for smart city, smart agriculture, etc., etc. There's also a control plane to that, and in order to control things, you have to have very low latency, very high reliability, security, and resiliency to the network. And of course, for us, people that use smartphones, you know, we're looking for greater and greater speeds. We've got, you know, 4K video being available. That's going to take up a lot of bandwidth, very high data rates, and very high capacity. So, you know, the difference between, I guess, 4G and 5G is not just about, you know, faster speeds. It is about, you know, more connectivity for everything. And China Mobile CEO, Mr. Li Yu, has put it, I think he's really nailed it. 4G has changed our lifestyles, but 5G will reshape, you know, societies. So that's what we're expecting for the 5G network. We're all engineers, so therefore let's take a look at some of the technical aspects of this. So right now we are here in the IMT Advanced, the inner light green circle, where, you know, we're getting, you know, good service. You know, we're getting tens of megabits. We're getting, you know, 1 gigabit peak data rate to the base station. Latency is about 10 milliseconds. But in 5G, we're going to expand on everything, including the data rate to hundreds of megabits per second, 20 gigabits to the base station. Latency, as I mentioned, needs very low latency of 1 millisecond, about 1 million connections per square kilometer. So everything needs to improve, and that means basically a new network. And that is very, very exciting. And there will be a lot of new standards, like for example 3GPP. They are doing a lot of standardization on the 5G, but there are a lot of other standard groups that surrounds that, providing recommendations, etc., etc., to enable 5G to go ahead. And when is 5G coming in? Well, there's, as I mentioned, the IMT 2020, so you can probably expect, you know, by 2020 we should see something. And this is the timeline that people are working to at the moment. So you can see over here, we do expect the first commercial standardized launches of 5G by 2020. And in fact, trials are actually happening today. What kind of trials are happening? Well, if you look at China Mobile, they are doing a 20-site trial in Beijing with 6 base station vendors. Okay, but these are mainly trials of the radios. At NTT Docomo, they are doing some trials here in Tokyo, and of course in the U.S. They're also providing gigabit to the handset, and that's going to be via, you know, LTE small cells and other things, and also using millimeter wave, you know, 5G small cells. What I mean by millimeter wave is anything above 24 gigahertz, 28, 39, 73 gigahertz. We call this, you know, very high frequency millimeter wave spectrum. Now, there's also this new term called a new radio. Okay, so new radio macro cell, which I'll go into a little bit more detail in a second. So there are 3 aspects that need to change. One is the radio, the other one is the network. So the new radio is really about this specification over here. So I did already mention some of this already. For example, very high downlink speeds and also uplink speeds. We're talking about very, very high connection density, as I mentioned already. Very low latency and very high mobility, 500 kilometers per hour instead of the current 250 kilometers per hour.